It is so great to be back on Coach Keyton Crawford here in the Crawford Podcasting Network. Tom Crawford, along with my podcast partner, the former Spartan, number 55, number double nickel, Kerry Keyton. I'm back from vacation, 9 days vacation. That's the magic number for me. 8 days is not enough. 10 days is too much. I love routine. I love being back home. My home in East Lansing. Great to be with you, Kerry.
Yes, sir. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. Glad that you were able to get up and get that skiing in up
Yeah.
there, watching those videos, and
Oh yeah.
that's
Oh yeah.
that's very, very, very cleansing
Yeah.
for you, I'm sure.
Cleansing being up in Benson County, my dad's old homestead area, and it was certainly good. But I like routine. You like routine, and when I come back typically from vacation, as I've done my whole life in mid-July, it is smelling football in the air. Now people think football, July 13th, you crazy? No, I'm not crazy. I'm anticipating. I mean, we're a couple weeks away. NFL camps open. You got Big Ten Media Days coming up in late July. You got your gathering with your fellow Spartan dogs with Coach Jonathan Smith at the end of July in anticipation of the Spartan season. Second year for Jonathan Smith. Now, it's a compelling year for him. I think he's got a lot of pressure on him. We'll talk about that in a second. But, Kerry, I'm on vacation. I still keep up with what's going on in college football, college sports. And it is a little disconcerting with this, as of July 1st, this revenue sharing with players. Now, I'm very pro player. You guys are bringing in the people, and you need to be compensated. But for example, the University of Michigan, my alma mater, which is one of the better, let's say, financially solvent schools athletically.
Big money.
I just heard. I'll read this, that the University of Michigan is anticipating a $27 million deficit for the 25-26 year coming up academic athletic calendar, and 20 million in revenue share, because you got to share with the athletes now. And so there's a whole bunch of layoffs coming up in personnel, and there's a lot of personnel there in support departments, more so than when you were playing for Michigan State.
Sure.
Now we're talking 35 years ago, whatever. So that, and Michigan is just, one school. I mean, they're going to prepare to take around 10 million in budget cuts. You think about, people think, oh my God, they got to make all these cuts. And then as fans, to get good seats, you got to bank all this big donor contribution. And you go to the games and you get in there without paying for whatever reason. I mean, you just get in there, right? Is that how it goes, Kerry? Or you stay home?
Hey, I go to one. I mean, like I said, well, my family, we used to have the family have season tickets forever, 8 of them, and then obviously you get the 4 when you're playing. Now we're accommodated with a couple for the home games or whatnot, but I typically will go to one. We'll go to the first one, which I love, the Labor Day weekend one, in between after the Thursday night high school game.
Exactly.
Then you hit the Spartan game on Friday night, and then all the other games come on Saturday. But I mean, I'm not a really fan of the crowds and that kind of stuff and all this that goes along with that. But like you said, I'd rather sit in front of my 80-inch and enjoy it.
I know. You sound like an old man. You're sounding as old as me. Now, I'm fortunate to be enough in the press box, but when those days are done, I'll probably be joining you in front of your 80-inch.
Absolutely.
I mean, the tailgating experience, all that's great. But there's that's a whole day commitment, especially going down to Ann Arbor.
A whole day.
But I shared this article with you. I mean, you think this is problematic for college football? I mean, how you think colleges are going to go out of the football business and go down to D2, D3, or what do you think is going to happen moving forward?
Nobody's getting out of the football business.
because there's money to be made.
It's just too much money there to be made by all kinds of people. What's just gonna have to what's gonna have to happen again, as with everything in life, is it's just gonna have to pivot
Mm-hmm.
someplace, and like you said, we talked about earlier, we were having some technical issues. I am, as you said earlier, I am for all the young people in college being able to make as much money as they can.
Right.
As being a part of that situation, thinking back on when we were there, the Tony Mandriches, the Lorenzo Whites, the the how much money they would have been able to accumulate while they were in college because of what they were doing on the field. You
Right.
know, they were the reason why people were coming to Michigan State to watch the games, to watch
Mm-hmm.
Lorenzo White run, Tony Mandarich block, Andre Rison catch, Bobby McAllister throw, all that good stuff. That's why they were coming.
Mm-hmm.
And we talk about what you say 35, 40 years ago, we're not getting a cut of that money, and that's fine. I had no problem with that. It's not, that's neither here nor there. But these young people now that they had the lawsuit and they're able to make that money, they deserve to make that money. Now, how it's dispersed and who gets what and all that, they got to figure that out because
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but uh, you know, there's levels to who's coming to, Cohen Carr deserves to make more money than
The
the
15 in the back. I
than the
understand that.
baseball
Yeah.
player. You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
But yeah, and the
So
other thing is you got your. Now, I always really hesitant of referencing. It's not. I don't call them non-revenue sports, Olympic sports.
sure,
Now they don't bring in crowds.
there's
Not
not
to the
not
level of
many.
college football, and they don't generate revenue. I mean, like I'll give you an example. Michigan State, they have football and basketball generate money. Hockey,
Football,
and
basketball, and
hockey
hockey,
is
probably
yeah, and hockey is just
getting
making
back.
money. I mean,
Yep,
a
getting
little.
back.
I mean, they're in the black just a little
Sure,
bit. You know what I'm saying? So,
sure.
and then you got what 20 some other sports. I'm not sure how Michigan State has it, but I mean that's probably how do you compensate? How do you compensate those athletes? They deserve money, and this is really a slippery slope. And I don't know how these numbers are going to work in this transition period.
I mean, there's people that are making a lot more money, and I'd like to probably assume that they're probably a lot smarter than me when they had to come to figure out who's going to get what and how it's going to get dispersed, and whose feelings are going to get hurt. But like you said, 15 to 17,000 people are going to show up at the Breslin to watch Cohen Carr and those guys play basketball. There's not 17,000 people showing up for a field hockey game.
Yeah.
It's just not happening. It's apples and oranges. So that has to be figured out. But granted, everybody, they're still going to get some money. Not to mention, the scholarships have all gone up. So
Yeah.
almost everybody will be on scholarship now. So
Yeah.
you're still getting money. You're still getting paid that kind of way, and that stuff, like I say, is $20 million. It'll get fettered out to those deserving, and then trickle itself down. So everybody's still getting a little piece of the pie. And as far as I'm concerned, a little piece of the pie is better than no piece of the pie.
Well, here's the deal: is that people get confused by this, and I do not have very high expertise on this financial part of college football because I get well. It's not my strength, and I
Sure,
mean I have trouble balancing a checkbook. But what I'm saying is, it's like there's a lot of people smarter who can dissect all the particulars of what
absolutely,
makes up
for sure,
a revenue productive athletic department. But there's NIL and then there's revenue sharing. Those are two separate things. Like Michigan has with their NIL, they have the second richest man in the world, Larry Ellison, serving up $10 million, Bryce Underwood. You know,
just to come there.
yeah, to come there. And I don't know how that works. When does he get paid? Does he get paid every 2 weeks? Does he have to sign a contract? Which I think some of these, there has to be some contractual obligation because he's just going to pick up and go somewhere else next year. So I don't know, but man, it's really complicated, and I am really worried of how it came so fast.
Sure.
And without the structure, and so Wild West we talk about, it's going to be a next few years of haves and have-nots like never before. I mean,
Right.
there's like 19 teams I figure have an outside shot of being in the national championship game or something along those lines. I mean, it's such a long shot, and there's probably only 5 or 6 that have a legitimate shot of being crowned national champion. So it is haves and have-nots, and I think that's going to turn a lot of people off about college football, and they might gravitate towards the pros, which is the ultimate in parity when you think about how they adjust the schedule. If you win a lot, you have a tougher schedule next year. The Detroit Lions are an example of that. And, you have salary caps, and you have the draft, and parity reigns supreme in the NFL. One of the many reasons it's so popular.
Sure. And I got into a spirited conversation with my very good friend Lindsay Huddleston last night, just about they were talking. Said the people are talking about. I think Seth Greenberg said something about pay to play, and they're paying them to play. Again, I've said it a million times. I don't have a problem with the young people getting paid. My whole premise was, as it's been for years, paying someone to come to the school should not be a thing. I just have never agreed with that. You should go to the school on the merits of playing time, and you want to go there for the education, and blah blah blah, those things. Once you get there, if you're a superstar, or you're making, and now you can make the NIL a la Flau'jae Johnson, Shedeur Sanders, Livy Dunn. Your name, image, and likeness, people want to see. You're an influencer. The McCavender twins, those young ladies that went to Miami.
Yeah.
If somebody wants you to come and do a commercial or a meet and greet, and they pay you, and you're compensated, hey, go get all the money you can get. I have no problem with that at all. And now with the profit share, I don't have a problem with that either.
Yeah.
They deserve to be paid. They're bringing in millions and millions and millions of dollars. And I guess the number was thrown out at 2.8 billion. That's just a number they've thrown out there. You could times that by 10 over the years that the NCAA has and the universities have made off the backs of players. But you are totally correct in the fact that it has no structure. So people are, again, the fact that they can, because Larry Ellison's wife wants Michigan to win, so he throws up $10 million to, and Bryce Underwood is a fantastic player. But what happens in that locker room?
Yeah.
What happens the first time he throws a pick in front of 110,000 people and they start booing the young man or whatnot? And then they're going to get on these stupid message boards, and they're going to start, belittling, and all these things are going to be going down, and it's just like you said, there's not enough structure right now to fix the problem that the NCAA let happen by not getting out in front of this and realizing that whether they were going to win or lose, they better get in front of it and figure out something, because here we are now, and it's not, because like you said, the money in Texas is not the same as the money in Boise, Idaho.
No, I agree. I mean, we talked about A&M in Texas $40 million in NIL money. It's like double the third or fourth. I mean, they're in a whole different category. You mentioned about the whole dynamic in the locker room. Like, okay, so Bryce Underwood comes in making that money. There's a third or fourth year senior at Michigan. And I'm not saying this is true, but I mean, I think there might be some resentment. You need to have some of the most important staff people on that coaching staff are going to be the ones that can mediate and touch on the interpersonal needs of players getting along for that particular reason. I mean, that could be as valuable as anything beyond X's and O's. I mean, I don't know how they're going to manage it. I've often thought about that when you're talking about. I mean, it's one thing in the NFL because it just goes with territory, but you're an 18-year-old coming in there. This Bryce Underwood thing, and I'm glad he's at Michigan, obviously, and I'm looking at that from just I want them to win with talent, and quarterback was such a position of weakness last year. But I just wonder how the hell is this going to work?
No question. Because you don't know if Bryce Underwood is, and I said this to Lindsay last night. You don't know if he's the next Tom Brady or he's the next Davis Warren. You just don't know. I mean, I hope the kid becomes a superstar, except for one game a year.
I know.
I hope he does great. But there's no question there's going to be people in that locker room that are going to be jealous because that's just the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
And as you said, you're going to have some people in there massaging egos and making sure that everybody is like, okay, look, this and this and it's going to be hard, but as long as he's producing, can't nobody be able to say anything. But as soon as the young man starts to struggle, because people out there, there's some ugly people out there. If I was a Michigan fan, I'm support the kid regardless because I know he's going to practice every day and he's going to be putting that time in to be the best Bryce Underwood he could be so that they can win football games. We know that. These people out there don't care about that. All they care about is he winning? Did they win? No, he threw 2 picks and we lost. That's all they care about. And then they're going to be on there just being hateful and saying such derogatory things. And it's just the world we live in now, unfortunately.
The most compelling moment for Bryce Underwood is going to be September 7th on a Saturday night in Norman, Oklahoma. Now, Oklahoma, people will say, oh, this is not a vintage Oklahoma team. They were sub 500 last year. They beat Alabama by 17 points on a Saturday night last year. Okay? It's a tough place to play.
Sure.
And you have a coach who's got to win this year. So that we'll find out so much. And not only will the fans, on the message boards, if things go bad, Michigan is actually a 2.5-point underdog in that game. But the media will be all over this guy's ass.
No question.
Sports Center and the whole thing of paying somebody $10 million is going to be lit up like a barbecue. I mean, it is going to be, and I hope he's just brilliant, obviously.
Sure.
Or he might be somewhere in between. But
I mean, he's still going to be 18 years old.
That is going to be the most compelling moment, I think, game 2 in college football, as far as a kid getting so much money and the pressure that goes with that and the level of expectation.
It's going to be the same with him. It's going to be the same with Arch Manning in Texas now taking over the reins. Yeah. Like, hey, look, there's no yours there now, buddy. It's all on you. So you getting paid all the money. If you don't produce, they gonna really become, because that's all they expect to do in Texas is win national championships. So if he doesn't produce, they're gonna be on his head, and talking about him and Aiden Childs as well. I mean, hell, that poor kid took more abuse last year. You know, he's running for his life half the time. It's like, you know, like get a kid a chance, but you know, he making all the money. They
If
expect you to do this,
if
this, and
he
this.
doesn't have to run for his life this year, which means the offensive line
It's better.
moving vastly. Okay, what? And I have no idea about their personnel, or you do. You were at practice, but I mean, if they merge together as a solid offensive line, that cat's going to have a good year.
No question
I'm
about it.
not going out on a limb saying that. I think he has the tools. He was it was like deer in the headlights last year.
Yeah, I mean, you take it, you're taking the snap, and by the time the ball gets back there, them big hungry guys is coming to get you. That's a problem.
It reminds me of backyard football where you count down, then you rush the quarter, you just running around throwing the ball up. I mean, it was no precision at
Let's
all.
let's just say sometimes there wasn't no Mississippi's being called for the young
Yeah,
fella.
every second I won Mississippi, 2 Mississippi.
Wasn't no Mississippi's. Was it was a snap and
That's
whoa,
right.
hey, I gotta go.
Yeah, and then
So
take off. Yep, that was Aiden Childs last year. So, and that will be an interesting. They got one more before we go out. We're going to break this down more next week, and we're going to wrap this up. But when you look at those 3 games to open for Michigan State, got to win them all, my friend. Got to win them all to have a great year.
yeah, we get with Westerns first, and then with Boston College and
Well, no, Youngstown State, I think, and
Youngstown.
Boston College. Okay, and
Yeah,
they're all at home.
got to win the home game. Got to win the home game.
That is non-negotiable, in my opinion, for Michigan State to have a bowl season appearance.
Oh no, without a doubt, and especially with with the new administration taking charge, and the expectation to win and that kind. Oh no, I think that a bowl game is the bottom of where I think we have to be at.
Oh yeah, the bottom. Yeah.
Because that has to be there, period. And then then we're moving up. Which and I think we will. I think we will do good enough to make a bowl game, and then it's just a question of doing better to get a better bowl game.
You got to beat Michigan to have a successful season this year.
Do we?
Yeah.
I don't think. I don't.
4 losses in a row if you lose to Michigan. Just to let
and but we were on a streak where we beat them quite. I don't think.
I'm talking about right
I don't
now.
think. I don't think that that's a deal breaker. I mean, I think obviously it would. Obviously, you beat Michigan. That buys you some time for sure. It can't be 49-0 or whatever the hell it was last year. Can't be that. Can't be that.
2 years ago. 2 years ago.
Yeah, can't be that. But last year, I mean, I don't know. We took a turd in the second half. Probably should have won it. Could have, should have, would have won it last year, but didn't. But no, I don't think that's a deal breaker. But it has to be competitive. We got to be competitive in everything. Every game have to be no blowouts, no ugliness. And obviously that'd be a cherry on the top of the cake for sure. We could knock off the Wolverines for sure. But I don't think that's a deal breaker. But we definitely have to make a bowl game, and up from there. But I know one thing that I wanted to touch on, like we talked about, that we said in the article, and you talk about the slippery slope that we're on right now. You talking about this private equity stuff coming into. It's already moving into youth sports and that kind of stuff, and it moves into college where you go out and get monies from people, and then the expectation of what that money comes with.
Yeah.
What does it come with? Now that's a slope that people need to be, because I'm all about going out and finding the money to help. You got to try to monetize everything you can to help your programs, and that's why the AD is here. Excuse me.
I think the new AD, what he did at Georgia Tech. I always say in the pro sports town, if you succeed there, and he made $80 million, I mean, that's a good thing.
Yeah, and he
I
brought his
think,
right hand man with him too.
Yeah, and I also think he's not going to be tolerant of mediocrity.
Absolutely not. No,
which is good for Michigan State. Yeah, that's what their fans want, and you got to be in the hunt. There's no reason, I've said this before, there's no excuse for Michigan State not to be in the top 5 every year. There's no excuse, in my opinion.
We have the resources.
You have the resources. You have a great stadium. You have a good fan base, and and you got a hell of an AD right now, in my opinion. And I think the president is a good selection too. So sometimes you have to have a regime change, and that's been the case. He's Kerry Keyton. I'm Tom Crawford. I'll tell you what, man, time flies. Even in mid-July, dog days of summer. We'll be back at it next week, Kerry. More stuff to talk about. We're going to talk more specifically about what we expect from our teams and other great things in the world of sports, high school all the way to the pros. So great job, my friend.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Glad to be back. And now we're on the grind, baby.
All right, man. It's Yellows ends it. Kerry Keyton
Yes, sir. Go green.
And go blue. See you guys next week.